What's happening around the world and what's happening here at home? A very good evening to and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Sandru Ferdinando.
And I'm Naveksha Gunasekara. We'll start off by taking a look at your headlines for tonight.
News First Headlines. Main sponsor.
Durden's Hospital, dedicated to you.
Senior citizen dies while in line to obtain Aswasuma welfare benefit letter. Dental and kidney surgeries at risk due to medicine shortage. SLPP and other political groups warn President to call for provincial council polls. Vasantha Mudulige arrested again. French President Emmanuel Macron to visit Sri Lanka tomorrow.
News First Headlines. Main sponsor.
Durden's Hospital, dedicated to you.
On a top story tonight, a 77-year-old Sri Lankan man died while in line to obtain the letter that states the eligibility to be included into the Aswasuma Welfare Development Program.
This senior citizen was in line for the third consecutive day to obtain the letter.
Ramasamy Kandavelu, a resident from Pingaravatta in Namanukula, accompanied by a relative, visited the Ella Divisional Secretariat on Thursday morning to obtain the letter stating that he was eligible to be included into the Aswasuma Welfare Development Program. He had joined the queue at the Ella Divisional Secretariat at around 8:30 a.m. Minutes after joining the queue, he had fallen ill and collapsed.
My grandfather and I arrived here on board the 7:30 a.m. We came here early because we wanted to join the queue. I was in the queue as well and he was ahead of me. I fell to the ground suddenly and I did not speak. We tried to make him sit, but it did not work.
කන්නත් නැතුව එන්න උදේ පාන්දර. උදේ පාන් 6ට නෙන්නේ මිනිස්සු. ඒවිලන්නේ පාවස 4 පාට. තව ගියා මැරලත් දන්නේ. ඕක ඉඳලා ගෙදර ගිහලා හුට්ටස් කරලා මැරෙන දේත් එච්චරනේ. ගියා මැරුණා. එච්චර නෙවෙන්නේ. රජේ මොනා කරනවද දන්නේ මේ මිනිසුන්ට. තවත් මොනම වෙයිද දන්නේ ඉස්සරහට.
ඔයා කියන්න දාන්න එපා කියලා. නෑ තනියෙන් නෙවෙයි. එහෙම බෑ. ඔයා කියන්න බෑනේ. ඉතින් මට දාන්න එපා කියලා නේද? ඒ ජනතාවට තියෙනවා ප්‍රශ්න මේවා කරන්න. ඊයේ මම ලෙඩ දෙන්න කිව්වා මේ ඉස්සරහට මම වතුර ටිකක් දීලා.
Following the post-mortem, the body of the deceased was handed over to the relatives. Sri Lanka police had to intervene to control the crowd that gathered opposite a state bank in Ambilipitia to open the bank accounts to access the funds deposited via the Aswasuma Welfare Benefit Program.
මැනේජර් මහත්තයා දැන් ඡන්ද දවස් 50 දෙන්න පෙළ ගැස්සිලා ඉන්නවා 50. මේ මහත්තයෝ ඔබේ ෆෝන් එකට යන්නේ. එයා එකට නල්ලෝ. ඔබේ 50 දෙන්න ෆෝන් නම්බර් මයින්ඩ් එකේ ඉන්නවා. බස් එකේ එන්නේ මිනිස්සුන්ට සල්ලි නැතුව පයින් අර වයරක මිනිස්සු තව එනවා. ඊයර 12 ඉඳලා මිනිස්සු ඉන්න මෙතන. මිනිස්සු මරා ගන්නව කලන්තය ඇතිලා අතන අංකල්ලා දෙන්නෙක් වැටිලා හිටියා. වතුර පොතක් දෙන්න කෙනෙක් නැහැ. අද මේ බස් මට හෙට වේම එන්න දාන්න එපා. සේරම උදේ කන්න නැතුව මේ තංගල මේකේ.
A large number of people were seen lining up opposite the Thissa Maharama Divisional Secretariat to obtain the Aswasuma eligibility letter. News First correspondent said some people were lining up even before 6 a.m.
දවසේ කුඩි වැඩ කරන මිනිහා ඉතින් ඒ මිනිහා අද රස්සාවත් අරගෙන කුඩිය නැහැනේ මේ පොලිමේ ඇවිල්ලා ඉතින් ඉඳලා ඉතින් මේ කරගෙන යන්න තමයි මේ කල්පනා කරන්නේ. ඊට 400ක් හොයාගන්න එක බයිසිකල් බැලලා.
A queue was also witnessed for the second day opposite the Kandy Divisional Secretariat to obtain the Aswasuma eligibility letter. The Sri Lankan government decided to suspend all welfare programs and introduce a new welfare program by identifying new beneficiaries as per an arrangement reached with the IMF. These payments will be distributed among 4 social categories, namely transitional, vulnerable, poor and extremely poor. However, as allegations mounted that the selection process was marred with impropriety, the government decided to award an opportunity to file objections and/or appeals. Those who already qualified for the Aswasuma Welfare Benefit Program have to obtain a letter from the Divisional Secretariat and produce that letter to open an account with a state bank. Long queues are forming at divisional secretariats to obtain the eligibility letter and at state banks to open bank accounts to access the funds from the Aswasuma Welfare Benefit Program. The Samruddhi development officers commented on the situation.
The elderly and the feeble are heading to the divisional secretariat in large numbers. The sick are also forced to wait in line. The government must end the program that aims to please the IMF that victimizes the low-income earners in the country.
Sri Lanka's health service is in crisis, and the following report is about the appalling situation at the National Institute for Nephrology, Dialysis and Transplantation and dental institutions across the country due to the shortage of medicine and medical supplies.
Kidney transplants at the National Institute for Nephrology, Dialysis and Transplantation are likely to be suspended due to the shortage of two vital medicines identified as ATG and basiliximab. The medicine is an antibody used to prevent rejection in kidney transplants. Sri Lanka's health ministry said that there are two separate suppliers for ATG and basiliximab and that one of the suppliers had not imported the medication. The health ministry said that as a result of this situation, a decision was made to move 60 vials from the Kurunegala Teaching Hospital to the National Institute for Nephrology, Dialysis and Transplantation. It added that another 700 vials are to be received in the future.
The president aims to develop the country by 2048 with a healthy society. How can we build a healthy society? By importing low-quality medicines. If the independent nature of the NMRA is established, this issue will be solved. There is a shortage of two medicines at the National Institute for Nephrology, Dialysis and Transplantation. Some medicines cannot even be moved to the hospitals and the crisis is worsening.
The Government Dental Surgeons Association warned that dental services at many state hospitals have been stalled due to the shortage of medicine and medical supplies. News First correspondent said patients visiting the National Dental Hospital were turned back on Thursday. The Government Dental Surgeons Association elaborated on the present situation.
Government hospitals require 1,300 medicines and equipments for dental surgeries. They have identified 233 as priority medicines and equipments and provided the list to the Health Ministry. Yet the Health Minister has not made an effort to get those medicines and equipments. Earlier, the forex crisis was used as an excuse for this. However, the Health Ministry has received funds from the Asian Development Bank, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank and other banks to the tune of $100 million. However, the authorities have not taken measures to utilize those funds. Dental surgeries and treatments across the majority of hospitals have come to a complete standstill.
Sri Lanka's Health Ministry said that orders for the said medication were placed in 2021. The Health Ministry noted that due to the change in foreign exchange, suppliers had informed that they cannot supply the stocks at the previously agreed rates. Therefore, the Health Ministry had decided to call for fresh tenders. In the meantime, it is reported that 270 medicine and medical equipment are to be prioritized to be imported under an emergency procurement process.
There's a serious shortage of medicines and medical equipments. The government has failed to maintain the standards of the health service. The government has not addressed the process of importing low-quality medicines by following the emergency procurement process. There's a serious shortage of medicines in the hospitals and the surgeries would be delayed. The government must solve this.
The Government Medical Officers Association met with President Ranil Wickremesinghe on Thursday evening. The GMOS said they were able to reach reasonable solutions to issues in the health sector.
ඉදිරි සති දෙක කාලය තුලදී සෞඛ්‍ය අමාත්‍යාංශයේ ඇමතිවරයා
The President will summon the Health Minister and all the officials within the next 2 weeks to discuss the matter. We pointed out that the emergency procurement process leads to a waste in public funds. We also discussed brain drain at length. The President was informed that many hospitals in the health sector are facing an imminent collapse. The President agreed to make changes in the appropriation bill and also agreed to present amendments to the tax system.
බදු ව්‍යුහයේ සංශෝධන ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න ජනාධිපතිවරයා මෙතෙන්දී එකඟතාවය පළ කළා.
The Lady Ridgeway Hospital for Children, located in Colombo, renders an immeasurable service to the nation. A large number of surgeries are performed at the Lady Ridgeway Hospital for Children to give a second chance to children who are born with various complications and deformities, and these surgeries are complex in nature. This little boy from Dematagoda was subject to a complex surgery on the 24th of December 2022. When he was just 9 months old, doctors diagnosed that his left kidney was functioning poorly. He was 2 years and 8 months old when he underwent a surgery to remove the poorly functioning left kidney. Prior to the surgery, a plethora of tests and examinations had been carried out, and it was revealed that his right kidney was healthy and active. However, as his urinal discharge was not taking place in a proper manner following the surgery, he was subject to another medical examination. During the examination, it came to light that he was missing his right kidney as well. Since then, this boy was surviving through dialysis treatment. Upon being recommended that the treatment needs to be provided at home, this little boy was taken home. However, as of today, he was at the intensive care unit of the hospital. It has now come to light that the poorly functioning left kidney had been directed for the examination, and the report does not mention anything about the right side kidney. As it was a very complex surgery, a mistake or two may have taken place, and in order to confirm it, a proper examination needs to take place. That should not be done simply to serve justice to this little boy, but to prevent the collapse of the faith placed by the people on the health care system.
Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe on Wednesday evening called for an all-party conference to discuss the 13th Amendment, the 13th Constitutional Amendment and the reconciliation process.
Many political groups claimed that the president has no genuine intention in this process and stressed that the provincial council election must take place without further delays. The ruling Sri Lanka Potujana Peramuna also shared the same view.
A large number of government and opposition political parties attended the all-party conference called for by the President and the President's office in Colombo. The Jatika Jana Balawega and the Tamil National People's Front did not attend the meeting. The President announced his position with regard to the implementation of the 13th Constitutional Amendment.
What we have proposed is for the implementation of all matters minus police powers. We have to discuss the matters relating to the police powers and whether we will be maintaining the police powers vested with the provincial councils. If police powers are to be given, we will have to introduce a new police ordinance. The minister is preparing that, and we need to discuss that as well. Therefore, I proposed for the implementation of all matters minus police powers. We need to introduce all of this to Parliament. I hope everyone will extend their support to this.
Tamil National Alliance alleged that the president walked away from the meeting when they tried to discuss on the provincial council elections, which were postponed.
The president invited party leaders for a discussion on power sharing arrangements. When the discussion went on, many party leaders supported the full implementation of the 13th Amendment. There were those who opposed it also, but many said it is useless talking about this without the provincial councils in place, and elections must be held for provincial councils. But then the president told me, no, you have to choose one or the other. Either talk about power sharing or ask for the elections. I told him that those are not mutually exclusive, that it is not contradictory. In fact, the power sharing is to a body that is elected by the people, and that's important that the elections are held. Mr. Vigneswaran said we don't need elections. I had to contradict that and say that is not the position of the party that has a mandate of the people, the Tamil National Alliance. And then the president suddenly abruptly closed the meeting and got up and went away.
The Samagi Jana Balawega also called for elections to take place.
The provincial council elections have not taken place for 6 years. Why are they not holding this election? Delimitation is taking place in a new way. As the main opposition party, we wish to state that provincial council elections need to take place as per the previous system with a simple majority. It is unnecessary to speak about the devolution of power. First, you need to hold the provincial council election. If you want to save money, call for both the local government and provincial council elections at once. When the northern political parties spoke of this, the president left the meeting. The president aims to delay these elections and go for a presidential election by deceiving the people for their votes.
The Sri Lanka Freedom Party also maintains its position of calling for provincial council elections.
We announced our position on the matter at the meeting and previous meetings. If the government has plans for provincial council election or any other program, they need to present it to us. As a democracy, Sri Lanka needs to have elections on time, and that is our position. We believe that immediate measures are necessary as provincial councils have been in operation without the members.
ඒ ගැන මට කියන්න පුළුවන් කමක් නැහැ මොකද මගේ කාලේ එහෙම ඉන්දියන්ු බලපෑමක් එහෙම මට ආවේ නැහැ පළාත් සභාව සම්බන්ධයෙන් එහෙම බලපෑමක් ඇති වුණේ නැහැ 13 ක්‍රියාත්මක කිරීමට නම් බලාත්මක කිරීමට නම් ජනතාව පාර්ලිමේන්තු මතය විතර නෙවෙයි ජනතාවගේ මතය විමසන්න අවස්ථාවක් තියෙනවා නේද මෙහෙමනේ දැන් ඔය දෙකම පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ සම්මත වෙච්ච ආයතනනේ ඉතින් ඒක නිසා
Both institutions were approved by the parliament. A new proposal is not necessary. There is no need for a referendum to call for the provincial council elections.
This is the stance of the Sri Lanka Podu Jana Peramuna that commands a majority in the government.
Our main proposal is for restructuring. All 9 provincial councils operate under the governor. Therefore, we need to discuss moving forward with the provincial council system under the 13th constitutional amendment. Let go of the 13th amendment. We need to discuss it as it is. We need to go for elections and let the people decide. Why do you need the 13th amendment for already inactive provincial councils? Independent political parties which were in coalition with the Sri Lanka Podu Jana Peramuna earlier also commented on the issue. Instead of building peace and harmony in the country, the government led by the president is trying to create disharmony in the country. Even there is a split inside the government on this issue. The members in the ruling faction from the Podu Jana Peramuna are on a different stance on this issue. The president has a different opinion. The current speaker resigned from the then government when they brought the 13th amendment to the constitution. The prime minister staged a protest in the Abhyarama temple when the 13th amendment was introduced to the constitution. This is an anomaly which will go down in history. In a time where we must all come together and battle the economic war, we have a serious concern as to why they are trying to spread disharmony in the country. Considering all these facts, we think that this is an attempt of the government to further delay the provincial council elections.
මේ හැම මතයකම තිබිච්ච පොදු හරය තමයි මේක මේ අර ඡන්දේ නොතියා ඉන්න ගමන් කරන පොඩි සෙල්ලමක් නේද කියන මතය. ඒ පොදු මතය හැමෝගෙම නියෝජනය වුණා. දමිළ ඡන්ද අනිකුත් මුස්ලිම් ඡන්ද එතකොට ඒ දමිළ ඡන්ද එක්ක
The president called this meeting with an ulterior motive to get the support of the Tamil and Muslim communities in the country in an upcoming election. But it misfired. At the end, everyone criticized the move of the president and demanded an election to allow the citizens to exercise their franchise. It also exposed the split within the government. This is the stance maintained by the Freedom People's Congress. This time around, President Ranil Wickremesinghe made a mistake. His tactics failed. He wanted to bring about the 13th amendment for discussion and create an issue within the opposition. However, everyone said he had no mandate. If he wished for decentralized power, he should call for provincial council elections that have been delayed.
MP Dalasala Peruma on Thursday commented on the proposal moved by the SLPP parliamentary group calling for a probe into the conduct of the former chairman and members of the National Election Commission with regards to the local government elections. He was speaking during the Pathikada program.
The Election Commission called for the election as per the powers vested with it. The Parliament granted the powers to the Election Commission. This motion was moved to Parliament in May. In June, they moved a motion stating that the Election Commission had violated their privileges. It was during that time that President appointed PSM Charles, a member of the Commission, as the Governor of the North. This motion is in Parliament. So was it the Commission or the President that committed a grave mistake? The other matter is the Chairman of the Commission, Punchiheva, was appointed to the Human Rights Commission, so the MPs, backed by the President, allege in Parliament that their privileges were violated by the person who the President appointed to the Commission.
News First. Main sponsor.
Durden's Hospital, dedicated to you.
When a heart attack strikes, every minute makes the difference between life and death. With the right care and treatment at the hand of the most skilled surgeons and medical professionals. With the perfect environment for recovery. Durden's Heart Center, dedicated to you.
French President Emmanuel Macron and Japanese Foreign Minister Yoshimasa Hayashi will visit Sri Lanka on Friday separately.
France and Japan are part of the three-country group, including India, that announced a common platform for talks among bilateral creditors to coordinate restructuring of Sri Lanka's debt.
The President of France, Emmanuel Macron, will visit Sri Lanka on his return from Papua New Guinea on Friday night to Saturday morning. Reports said that the French President will meet with Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe during his brief stay. The official discussion between the two heads of state will center on strengthening bilateral relations in the 75th anniversary of diplomatic relations between France and Sri Lanka. The discussion will also focus on an exchange of views on global economic and political affairs. The French President will be accompanied by French Minister for Europe and Foreign Affairs Catherine Colonna and a high-level delegation comprising senior officials of the French government. This historic visit is the first by a French president to Sri Lanka. Japanese Foreign Minister Yoshimasa Hayashi will visit Sri Lanka on Friday on a two-day official visit. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said the Japanese Foreign Minister is scheduled to have official discussions with Minister of Foreign Affairs Ali Sabri at the ministry and pay courtesy calls on President Ranil Wickremesinghe and Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena. Minister of Foreign Affairs of Japan Hayashi Yoshimasa will be accompanied by Senior Foreign Policy Coordinator Murakami Manabu, Director General Southeast and Southwest Asian Affairs Arima Yutaka, Director General International Cooperation Endo Kazuya, Deputy Press Secretary Okana Yukiko from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and a 22-member delegation consisting of officials of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan. In Sri Lanka, Hayashi will discuss the country's debt problems. France and Japan are part of the three-country group, including India, that announced a common platform for talks among bilateral creditors to coordinate restructuring of Sri Lanka's debt.
The former convener of the Inter-University Students' Federation, Wasantha Mudalige, and another were arrested in Borala on Thursday evening by Sri Lanka police.
Wasantha Mudalige was arrested by the Cinnamon Gardens police and was detained at the Cinnamon Gardens police station. He was arrested as per a warrant issued for his arrest for failing to appear in court for a case filed over being a member of an unlawful assembly opposite the University Grants Commission on the 27th of February 2020 and for causing inconveniences. The other person who was arrested was Indika Vidana Patirana, a member of the IUSF.
Wildlife officers were successful in capturing a wild elephant that claimed the life of a man and was roaming around Kurunegala for days.
The wild elephant was captured while it was roaming in the Muanwella area in Padeni Variapola. On Wednesday, the wild elephant had crossed a distance of 30 kilometers via Kinigaspitia, Dematolua, Hangamuna Valpola and Variapola to reach the Padenia area. Around 50 wildlife officers took part in this massive operation on Thursday. The elephant was captured and it will be moved to a separate area. Wildlife officials are continuing to administer treatment to the Agbo tusker who was wounded after a trap gun fired. On Wednesday, wildlife officials and veterinarians from the Anuradhapura zone visited the area and carried out an X-ray scan on the left leg of the tusker.
We saw several bullets and we cannot be certain how fatal they are to the life of this animal. We will continue with the treatment. It is difficult to treat an animal with such injuries. If the bones are affected, it will take more time to heal.
As a country, we are currently facing a very challenging period. During this time, we rarely come across something positive given the plethora of issues that plague the country.
However, this is a report that will probably benefit future generations of the country.
This is the Mahinda Rajapaksa Vidyalaya in Mathura. Today, this school was converted into the polling centre. The election for new members of the school parliament took place under the supervision of the principal and academic staff. The voting process took place online and the system was designed by 3 school students. The specialty of this system is that votes can be counted when they are cast. Vimukti Indunil, Achirani Mantika and Hirun Kovida were the designers of this new system.
We designed a digital counter to count the votes. We designed this using a JavaScript. I took part of the design and it took 2 days to edit. The data goes to the cloud and the password and the data are secure. This system can be taken national as the cost is very low.
The principal also praised the efforts of the students.
The value in the system is that a voting result can be obtained when polling closes. Sri Lanka has not been able to introduce such a system nationally. This will set the precedent. This will give a new opportunity.
Shouldn't measures be taken to encourage more such innovations?
Sri Lanka has officially ratified the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty.
Sri Lanka's permanent representative to the UN, Mohan Piris, deposited the instrument of ratification by Sri Lanka of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty at a ceremony held at the Treaty Section of the United Nations. The Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty prohibits any nuclear weapon test explosion or any other nuclear explosion anywhere in the world and has a network of detection stations in place to detect nuclear explosions anywhere in the world. Sri Lanka also operates an auxiliary seismic station AS-100 in Pallekele as part of this network. The ultimate objective is to ban nuclear weapon test explosions and any other nuclear explosions in any environment, air, land or sea, in an effectively verifiable manner. The treaty was first launched in 1996 and 178 nations have already signed and ratified it. It is not clear why Sri Lanka took 27 years to do so or why it was finally done at this time. The treaty itself is unlikely to ever come into effect since there is a requirement that 44 several existing nuclear nations must ratify it. But 8 such nations have refused to do so, including the United States, India, Pakistan, North Korea, China and Israel.
Exploring beyond boundaries, the Galle Regional Conference of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka 2023 was held in Galle on Thursday.
The Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka has embarked on a unique initiative of holding conferences in different regions of Sri Lanka. The latest such conference was held in Galle today. President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka, Sanjay Bandara, spoke about the importance of conducting regional conferences.
Many initiatives were taken during the last 15 months to effectively engage government of Sri Lanka, especially helping them in taking our country out of this crisis.
Delivering the keynote speech, Bernardine Jayasinghe, Managing Director of the Institute of Essential Studies, highlighted the importance of identifying strengths, weaknesses and opportunities as professionals.
If you start doing the right analysis, if you start preparing yourself, if you start analyzing, if you start working on your skills right now, when you feel, when your intuition starts telling you that's the right time, you can thrive in life. We have to be able to understand what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, what are the opportunities we have, and what are the threats. And as professionals, we need to identify that and then really work on those.
Shevan Daniel, Group Director of CMG, was the chief guest and elaborated on the need for change in order to face massive challenges.
We can't keep doing the same thing and expect to face these massive challenges. We can't expect the poor people of this country to continuously sustain and carry the weight of the mistakes made in leadership. They are tired. They are tired physically, mentally, and they are also tired politically. We have the opportunity to set the country on the right path. But to do that, we must be able to expand our boundaries.
Saman Srilal, Chairman of the Regional Conference Committee, Nishani Pereira, Chairperson of the Galle Regional Conferences Technical Committee, and many others attended the event. Panel discussions were held under the topics of understanding the business climate, economic and taxation, and also about tools to reach boundaries and beyond, artificial intelligence and people management. The previous regional conference of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka was held in Jaffna, and more regional conferences will be held in other cities as well.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe has removed the ban on 5 of the 11 organizations that were proscribed on April 10, 2021 by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa under the Prevention of Terrorism Act.
The remaining 6 organizations include Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. The organization, whose bans were lifted by Extraordinary Gazette number 2342/27 dated July 26, 2023 are United Tawheed Jamaat, Ceylon Tawheed Jamaat, Sri Lanka Tawheed Jamaat, All Ceylon Tawheed Jamaat, Jamiatul Ansari Sunnatul Muhammadiyah, alias Jamaat Ansari Sunnatil Muhammadiyah Organization, alias All Ceylon Jamiatul Ansaris Sunnatil Muhammadiyah, alias Ansaris Sunnatil Muhammadiyah Association, alias Jamaat Ansaris Sunnatil Muhammadiyah.
Three retired military veterans testified on Wednesday at a House hearing on UFOs, warning that the sightings are a national security problem and that the government has been too secretive about them.
A House Oversight Subcommittee convened Wednesday's hearing on UFOs as the lawmakers who pushed for the hearing are calling for the government to be more forthcoming about the unidentified anomalous phenomena.
The whole fleet of them, look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
David Grush, a former Air Force intelligence officer, alleged that the government has covered up its research into the unidentified sightings and said he reported information to the Intelligence Community Inspector General.
If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries, yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
The government characterizes the unexplained sightings as UAPs and has released reports on the cases in recent years. Some of them still have not been explained, while others have been attributed to balloon or balloon entities, as well as drones, birds, weather events or airborne debris like plastic bags. Graves and David Fravor, retired US Navy commander, both testified about their own sightings of UAPs while they were serving in the military.
Pakistan beat Sri Lanka by an innings and 222 runs in the second test in Colombo to clinch the series by 2-0. It is the largest margin of victory by runs for Pakistan in an away test match.
Pakistan added 13 runs to their overnight score as Mohammad Rizwan reached an 8th Test half-century. Nauman removed all of Sri Lanka's top 7 batters before Nasim Shah blew away the home side's tail. Angelo Matthews was the only Sri Lanka batter to show any resistance at the Sinhalese Sports Club as he finished unbeaten on 63 from 127 balls. Nauman Ali took 7 second innings wickets as Pakistan thrashed Sri Lanka by an innings and 222 runs in the second Test in Colombo.
Also in sports, the top 16 rounds of the Jaffna Premier League football tournament commenced on Thursday.
4 matches of the top 16 were played on Thursday. 4 teams secured a place in the quarter-finals of the tournament scheduled to be held on the 29th and 30th of July. The semi-finals will be held on the 1st and 2nd of August. The Jaffna Premier League football tournament is being held with the aim of selecting the team for Sri Lanka football players for the national football squad. Shakti TV is the official media sponsor of this event.
And with that, we wrap up news for tonight.
For all these stories and much more, you can visit our website, that is www.newsfirst.lk. Thank you. Good night.